morning, thank you for joining me again in the studio. Today is a very exciting day. It's quite a gloomy, miserable, rainy Sunday morning, but I am off to a very exciting film premiere, which I'm really looking forward to. It's quite local. It's a documentary about textiles in West Yorkshire, and I know very little about it, but I'm looking forward to going, and I've been following along on Instagram the different designers and models and people behind the documentary. So that's what I'm doing today. I am literally just about to leave. It's about an hour and a half away from me at the venue where the premiere is being held, and I need to get on the road very shortly if I'm going to be there on time. I was going to wear quite a fancy dress and go all out, and I just woke up this morning and just wasn't feeling it, so instead I've gone for a very simple black dress and then a jumper that is a Maru jumper, homemade, and then this lovely metallic-y, shiny scarf. And I'll be in my heels as well. So I do feel a little bit dressed up. I mean, I normally wouldn't be putting any effort into my makeup or obviously wearing heels. So in that sense, I feel like I'm making a bit of effort. But I do expect to be the most underdressed person there. So yes, I'm gonna take you along, and I don't know how much of it I'll be able to film, if any. If not, then you probably won't see this, but if I can, I'll try and get a few shots because it should be quite an exciting day. Good morning, it's the next day. I'm back from the premiere and I had a great time, and I thought I'd just give you a rundown of my thoughts after seeing the documentary in full and meeting some of the people who were involved in making it, which was lovely. My overall impression, I mean, I was really impressed with the work that they'd done to put into this documentary, and the outcome was a fantastic film. You could tell that the film meant a lot to everyone who was there, and I felt really lucky to be a part of it, even as a guest. Hello? I had going in some preconceived notions about what the event would be like, what the documentary would be like, and I was a little surprised it wasn't correct. I thought it would be a lot more public facing, I suppose, than it was. It was more of a celebration for the people directly involved and their families, which is lovely. But I did feel like, oh, quite an outsider. But I was still made to feel very welcome, which I appreciated. And it was a fantastic event. I mean, the venue was lovely. They were very accommodating. It was sponsored by Tim Hortons, which was fun. Everyone got a free donut. And the people that I spoke to there, I spoke to a couple of the models and one of the designers and the founder of West Yorkshire Fashion Week herself, very briefly. Everyone just radiated so much positivity about West Yorkshire Fashion Week, and also the event yesterday, how much they enjoyed coming together again, seeing each other after a few months post catwalk. They just raved about their experience. For a lot of them, it was their first time doing something like that, and they felt very comfortable, and they had a really good time, and they met some lovely people. So it seems like a very positive event to have been a part of. The documentary itself took you on a journey mainly of the day itself rather than the build-up. I understand there were limitations as to what could be filmed, and I don't know how early in the organisation process the decision to make a documentary was made, because it felt like it was sort of put together after everything else was in place, which is fine, but you did come away with a feeling of I don't know, I would have really liked to have seen a bit more of the build-up to the event. It was mentioned briefly that the run-up to the event was quite stressful and that Hollie had put in some long shifts, early mornings and such. But that was only spoken about briefly. We didn't really hear Hollie's perspective on that, for one, or see it in the footage that we had. And I get that that is sort of out of the control of the director. She could only film what she could film. And I'm sure there was a budget and time constraints. And it was clear that this project was made on weekends and spare time, and it's absolutely fantastic. Considering that it's what they've put together is great. I think if they had had more time to film, it would have been nice to see more of the perspective of the designers, what West Yorkshire Fashion Week meant for them. We did hear Hollie speak about the lack of opportunities in fashion in the north, that everything seems to be centred in London, which I completely resonate with. But then we didn't really see that from anyone else's point of view, because we saw Hollie mention that, and then she created her event, which produced these opportunities, which is absolutely fantastic. But I would have liked a bit more of a highlight on the designers themselves. I mean, by the end of the film, I still couldn't really put a name to a face. So I did feel like they were sort of not highlighted enough, maybe. But I get that it's you can't include everything, and I'm sure there was a lot of footage that wasn't included. I thought that the best part was generally when Hollie talked about the struggles that she'd faced putting on the show and how she'd overcome them. There was a lot that I could relate to in this, having helped put together similar sorts of events in the past. I mean, scrambling to find models last minute, been there. I did feel like not many people could go through the stress of organising an event like that and then be willing to have a documentary camera film them afterwards. So I was very impressed with that. I thought Hollie kept it together really well, considering how emotional it must have been. And I think part of that is the fantastic support network she had around her, both in the documentary and yesterday. You could just feel this overwhelming sense of support and love from her family. And that was really sweet, but not just her family. All of the models, all of the designers who were there yesterday, they were just singing her praises. And that was really sweet. And I hope that she felt that, because it was abundantly clear that everyone thought she'd done a good job and wanted to support her in the future. I felt like the personal drive and motivation that she mentioned in the documentary, you could see that some of that had rubbed off onto everyone else. Like, everyone else wanted it to be a good event. I felt like the models on the day, even though, and I only found this out afterwards, that some of them had never modelled before, and it was probably the first time a lot of them had ever met each other, they felt like a cohesive team on the camera. And I don't know whether that was because of the edit. There was no moment where you felt, oh, they shouldn't have done that, or this suddenly doesn't feel the same energy as everyone else, which you often get at runways. So it was impressive. It felt so cohesive. And again, that might be the edit. I don't know. Wasn't there. I mentioned earlier that I did feel a bit of an outsider at the event, which is fair enough. But even as a stranger, the people I spoke to were so welcoming and so eager to share their experience. It felt like, I don't know, just a really welcoming, warm space, which I appreciated. And I felt that the West Yorkshire Fashion Week as a concept had so much potential. I mean, it was clear that the collaborations that were done for the October event were hugely successful. It was fantastic for me to see a young woman like Hollie decide to do something and execute it so well. It was lovely. It was really inspirational, and I came away feeling inspired in my own work. I was so happy to see a spotlight on northern fashion, and I really appreciated the variety of textiles and style between the different designers. I think that they were a really good sort of group to have together to be presenting on the same day. I definitely want to try and attend the next West Yorkshire Fashion Week if possible. I mean, I'm from North Yorkshire and there's even less going on, so it would be great to try and support some of these northern fashion events. And there's so much potential in West Yorkshire Fashion Week. I can see it becoming a mainstay of British fashion events, and I can see Hollie collaborating with a lot more businesses and designers and maybe students. Whatever she decides to do, I'm sure it will be a success. I felt that the director and the sound designer have both done fantastic jobs. There was a moment in the beginning of the documentary where it felt like it was going to be a true crime documentary, because it suddenly got very eerie, but it pulled round and it was very positive and optimistic towards the end. The director during the Q&A session mentioned that she would be re-editing the footage to create something appropriate for the film festival circuits, and I have no doubt that she'll be very successful if she does decide to do them, because she also seemed quite a determined person. As for me, I am, as I say, inspired by the event. It makes me want to keep pushing in my own work, and speaking of which, I have now created a range of metallic yarns which will be available on the website shortly. The website itself is under construction currently, but or reconstruction, I should say, but that should be live very shortly, and I will announce that on here as well. Okay, thank you for joining me in the studio today. I am excited to attend the next West Yorkshire Fashion Week, and I hope to see some of you there too.